So instead of us proving that God exists, the question has to be asked to these people who do not believe in God to prove that God does not exist. How do you prove that God does not exist? Is by giving a clear answer to the question, who is the designer of everything we know? Who is the ultimate designer behind the creation? Hey family, it is such a joy to connect with you again. If this is your first time, we are going through the book Engineer to Make a Difference. You are designed for success and lasting significance. And if you have not gotten the book yet, it is available on Amazon, and there is also an audiobook for those people that are busy like me, those people that are driving everywhere. You can grab the audiobook for free and basically listen to it and really catch up with where we are. The title of the book says it all, Engineer to Make a Difference. The intent of the book is to remind you that you are not a mistake, you are not a happenstance, you are not a biological error, that God has created you with a purpose, and your purpose is to make a difference in the world. You have been given a gift that is unique, a gift that makes you who you are, and because of that gift you have a purpose. That's really the whole point of this book. We've been going through this book chapter by chapter. We did the first chapter. Now we are on the second chapter. The title of chapter 2 is Who is the Ultimate Designer Behind the Creation? This is a very good question, because as a matter of fact, someone reached out to me asking me the question to know, what do I tell people who do not believe in God? How do I prove them that God exists? My question back to them was clear. Why do you have to prove that God exists? Because everything tells us of the existence of God. And so instead of us proving that God exists, the question has to be asked to these people who do not believe in God to prove that God does not exist. How do you prove that God does not exist? Is by giving a clear answer to the question, who is the designer of everything we know? Who is the ultimate designer behind the creation? If you can give me with empirical data, with proof and experimental data that you know who is behind the creation, then you have proven your case. But until now, nobody has been able to prove that case. Nobody has been able to answer to the question, who is the ultimate designer behind creation, if it is not God? In this chapter, I am talking about, first off, my understanding of things. I am a licensed mechanical engineer by trade, so my job is to design systems. And here's what I've learned in my career. There is few things that I want to share with you. Number one, nothing happened without a designer. Yes, nothing happened without a designer. My client's problem never gets solved without me getting involved. If I do not do anything, nothing happens. There is no design that is given to resolve their problem. That's the same thing with the world. Nothing will have happened if there is not a designer who is behind the creation of the world. That's the first thing that I wanted to share with you. The second thing that I've learned is that all systems have to be designed by an outside entity. In other words, as a designer, when I get to design a system, I have to be outside of that system. There is no way that the world can create itself. There's got to be an outside entity that can create the world. What this means to you and me is that the evolution theory does not make sense, because the question question that we are still unable to answer is, where did the first cell come from? How did the first cell started? How come we as humans have not been able to evolve to something else? That tells you that the evolution theory is highly questionable. The other theory that we always talked about is the Big Bang theory, as if just with a Big Bang everything was created. Now think about it. If you look at the world and you look at everything that was created, you can tell that it is so organized. Just think about the human body. The human body has 32.7 trillions of cells. Those cells are organized to tissue. Those tissues are organized to create organs. Those organs are connected by system. The body, the human body, is so complex that you know this was not just a hazard. This is a design. It took intelligence. The last point that I want to share with you is that the end goal of every single design is to fulfill the purpose of the designer. Every single thing that I have designed had one intent, which was to fulfill the purpose of the designer, which is me. So therefore, if God is the ultimate engineer who has engineered this whole thing, if God is this outside entity who was able to design everything that we know, including ourselves, then God has placed a purpose in every one of us, and it is God's prerogative, and it is God's duty, and it is God's intent that we too will be successful. So who is the ultimate designer behind the creation? That is God. And if you cannot believe in that, then the question that I have for you is, prove me with empirical data who created the world, who started the very first cell, who was able to make sense of the Big Bang, who made it all together, who was this outside entity who has given the beginning and the end to the world, who is that entity who was able to give a purpose to the world? Because the answer that you will be able to find is God. Let me tell you this. It takes less faith to believe that God created every single thing that we know and things that we do not know, every single thing that we see and the things that we cannot see. But it takes more faith to believe in the evolution. It takes more faith to believe in the Big Bang theory, because in all of that, there is no empirical data that prove any of these theories to be true. So make your life easier. Just have the faith that God created everything. It was great spending this time with you. I would like for you to like this video and to subscribe and share this with someone who wants to hear this question that has always been asked to us, to prove that God exists, when we should not prove that God exists, because creation proves the existence of God, and science itself also proves the existence of God, because God is the ultimate designer behind creation. God bless you. See you next time.
No, you're not.